Fionn mac Cumhaill, sometimes transcribed in English as MacCool or MacCoul, was a mythical hunt warrior of Irish mythology, occurring also in the mythologies of Scotland and the Isle of Man. The stories of Fionn and his followers, the Fianna, form the Fenian Cycle, much of it narrated in the voice of Fionn's son, the poet Oisín. Fionn means blond, fair, white, or bright. The hero's childhood name was Deimne, literally sureness or certainty, also a name that means a young male deer. Several legends tell how he gained the name Fionn when his hair turned prematurely white. The name Fionn is related to the Welsh name Gwyn, as in the mythological figure Gwyn ap Nudd, and to the continental Celtic Vindos, a form of the god Belinus. The 19th-century Irish revolutionary organisation known as the Fenian Brotherhood took its name from these legends. The Scottish form of his name, Fingal, FNL, comes from a retelling of the legends in epic form by the 18th-century poet James Macpherson. Legend, birth. Most of Fionn's early adventures are recounted in the narrative The Boyhood Deeds of Fionn. He was the son of Cumhaill, leader of the Fianna, a Fionn, daughter of the druid Tadg mac Nudd, who lived on the hill of Almu in County Kildare. Cumhaill abducted Fionn after her father refused him her hand, so Tadg appealed to the High King, Con of the Hundred Battles, who outlawed Cumhaill. The Battle of Seneca was fought between Con and Cumhaill was killed by Gol mac Morna, who took over leadership of the Fianna. Fionn mac Cumhaill was said to be originally from Ballyfin, in Laois. The direct translation of Ballyfin from Irish to English is town of Fionn. Fionn was already pregnant. Her father rejected her and ordered his people to burn her, but Con would not allow it and put her under the protection of Fianna mac Conchin, whose wife, Bodmel the Druid, was Cumhaill's sister. In Fianna's house Fionn gave birth to a son, whom she called Deimne. Boyhood. Fionn left the boy in the care of Bodmel and a fighting woman, Leithluisra, and they brought him up in secret in the forest of Slybladmar, teaching him the arts of war and hunting. As he grew older he entered the service, incognito, of a number of local kings, but each one, when he recognized Fionn as Cumhaill's son, told him to leave, fearing they would be unable to protect him from his enemies. The young Fionn met the leprechaun-like druid and poet Finices, or Finnegas, near the River Boyne and studied under him. Finnegas had spent 7 years trying to catch the salmon of knowledge, which lived in a pool on the Boyne and became all-knowing through its diets of hazelnuts from a holy tree. Whoever ate the salmon would gain all the knowledge in the world. Eventually the old man caught it, and told the boy to cook it for him. While cooking it, Deimne burned his thumb, and instinctively put his thumb in his mouth. This imbued him with the salmon's wisdom, and when Finices saw that he had gained wisdom, he gave young Fionn the whole salmon to eat. Fionn then knew how to gain revenge against Gol, and in subsequent stories was able to call on the knowledge of the salmon by putting his thumb to the tooth that had first tasted the salmon. The story of Fionn and the salmon of knowledge and the Welsh tale of Gwaun Bark are similar. Adulthood. Every year for 23 years at Samhain, a fire-breathing man of the Sidhe Ailin would lull the men of Tara to sleep with his music before burning the palace to the ground, and the Fianna, led by Gol mac Morna, were powerless to prevent it. Fionn arrived at Tara armed with his father's craneskin bag of magical weapons. He kept himself awake by touching the point of his magically red-hot spear to his forehead. The pain kept Fionn awake, allowing him to pursue and kill Ailin with the same spear. After that his heritage was recognized and he was given command of the Fianna. Gol willingly stepped aside and became a loyal follower of Fionn, although in some stories their alliance is uneasy. Fionn demanded compensation for his father's death from Tadg, threatening war or single combat against him if he refused. Tadg offered him his home, the Hill of Allen, as compensation, which Fionn accepted. Love life. Fionn met his most famous wife, Sad, when he was out hunting. She had been turned into a deer by a druid, Theodoric, whom she had refused to marry. Fionn's hounds, Bran and Sciol, born of a human enchanted into the form of a hound, recognized her as human, and Fionn brought her home. She transformed back into a woman the moment she set foot on Fionn's land, as this was the one place she could regain her true form. She and Fionn married and she was soon pregnant. When Fionn was away defending his country, Theodoric returned and turned her back into a deer, whereupon she vanished. Fionn spent years searching for her, but to no avail. Bran and Sciol, again hunting, found her son, Oisín, in the form of a fawn. He transformed into a child, and went on to be one of the greatest of the Fianna. In the pursuit of Deimne and grain of the High King Cormac MacCoul promises the aging Fionn his daughter Grainne, but at the wedding feast Grainne falls for one of the Fianna, Deimne, noted for his beauty. She forces him to run away with her and Fionn pursues them. The lovers are helped by the Fianna, and by Deimne's foster father, the god Aliangus. Eventually Fionn makes his peace with the couple. Years later, however, Fionn invites Deimne on a boar hunt, and Deimne is gored. Water drunk from Fionn's hands has the power of healing, but each time Fionn gathers water he lets it run through his fingers before he gets back to Deimne. His grandson Oscar shames Fionn, but when he finally returns with water it is too late. Deimne has died. Death. According to the most popular account of Fionn's death, he is not dead at all, rather, he sleeps in a cave, surrounded by the Fianna. One day they will awake and defend Ireland in the hour of her greatest need. In one account, it is said they will arise when the Dord Fionn, the hunting horn of the Fianna, is sounded 3 times, and they will be as strong and as well as they ever were. Fionn is a giant. Many geographical features in Ireland are attributed to Fionn. Legend has it he built the Giant's Causeway as stepping stones to Scotland, so as not to get his feet wet. He also once scooped up part of Ireland to fling it at a rival, but it missed and landed in the Irish Sea. The clump became the Isle of Man, and a pebble became Rockall. The void became Loch Ness. Cumhaill cave in Scotland is also named after him, and shares the feature of hexagonal basalt columns with the nearby Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. In both Irish and Manx popular folklore, Fionn mac Cumhaill is portrayed as a magical, benevolent giant. The most famous story attached to this version of Fionn tells of how one day, while making a pathway in the sea towards Scotland, the Giant's Causeway, Fionn is told that the giant Benandonna is coming to fight him. Knowing he cannot withstand Benandonna due to his size, Fionn asks his wife Una to help him. She dresses her husband as a baby, and he hides in a cradle. Then she makes a batch of griddle cakes, hiding griddle irons in some. When Benandonna arrives, Una tells him Fionn is out but will be back shortly. As Benandonna waits, he tries to intimidate Una with his immense power, breaking rocks with his little finger. Una then offers Benandonna a griddle cake, but when he bites into the iron he chips his teeth. Una scolds him for being weak, and feeds one without an iron to the baby, who eats it without trouble. In the Irish version, Benandonna is so awed by the power of the baby's teeth and the size of the baby that, at Una's prompting, he puts his fingers in Fionn's mouth to feel how sharp his teeth are. Fionn bites Benandonna's little finger, and scared of the prospect of meeting his father considering the baby's size, Benandonna runs back towards Scotland across the causeway, smashing the causeway so Fionn couldn't follow him. The Manx Gaelic version contains a further tale of how Fionn and the Buggan battle at Kirk Christ Rushen. Fionn's feet carve out the channels between the Calf of Man and Kitterland and between Kitterland and the Isle of Man, while the Buggen's feet make an opening for the port at Port Erin. The Buggen injures Fionn, who flees over the sea, but the Buggen tears out one of his own teeth and strikes Fionn as he runs away. The tooth falls into the sea, becoming the Chicken Rock, and Fionn curses the tooth, explaining why it is a hazard to sailors. In Newfoundland and some parts of Nova Scotia, Cumhaill's rising is spoken of in a distinct nationalistic sense, made popular in songs and bars alike to speak of Cumhaill as his name is pronounced in English versus Fionn. MacCool in Newfoundland Irish is sometimes used as a stand-in for Newfoundland or its culture. Plays and shows. In the 1999 Irish dance show Dancing on Dangerous Ground, conceived and choreographed by former River Dance leads Jean Butler and Colin Dunn, Tony Kemp portrayed Fionn in a modernized version of The Pursuit of Diarmid and Grainne. In this, Diarmid, played by Colin Dunn, dies at the hands of the Fianna after he and Grainne, played by Jean Butler, run away together into the forests of Ireland immediately after Fionn and Grainne's wedding. When she sees Diarmid's body, Grainne dies of a broken heart. In 2010, Washington, D.C.'s Dizzy Miss Lizzie's Roadside Review debuted the rock musical Fionn MacCool at the Capitol Fringe Festival. The show retells the legend of Fionn Cumhaill through punk-inspired rock, and was performed at the Woolly Mammoth Theatre in March 2011.